from Japan. It is Thursday, July 5th, and it is time for Stark Raving Totals. Welcome to the segment. You guys come in and give awesome comments. I always can't talk in the morning. It's so early for me here in Japan. And we go ahead, we talk about sports on the day. Let's do this. All right, so we got 3 plays here on the card. We're going to talk about 1 in Major League Baseball, 2 in the WNBA that I kind of like. So we'll talk about those in just 1 second. As always, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel on for a Sportsbook review. A lot of content going on right now, especially with the World Cup. Some really good games going on. I jumped into Jimmy and Pete's show yesterday at the over with the Dodgers. I hope you guys caught that because that actually won. In our last segment on Tuesday, we went 2-0 in our totals, so pretty happy about that with Boston on the over, and then we had Minnesota, Indiana under the total, and that went opposite of what I thought, but it still hit under, so we'll take it. But we did lose with New York on the plus money line. They were terrible. We're going to look at them again today. And I think that's about it. So SPRpicks.com, Sportsbook review. That is the main webpage you've got to check out. That's what I have up right here, all the numbers, all the odds. And I want to make sure we're all good to go here. As always, I got to check this because this is we're streaming this. And if it starts to get a little bit choppy, I'm going to ask my friends at Sportsbook Review to let me know so I can hook up my other Wi-Fi. As you guys know, I'm out of town a little bit, and sometimes it gets a little bit choppy. So, all right, let's do this. Let me get a little bit of coffee here. Let's talk baseball. Okay, so let's just dive right in. For the line that jumped, okay, well, there's nothing really else I want to talk about. I thought there's some big lines today. A little bit interested in that Miami game. I'm curious how Washington's going to bounce back after, putting up a goose egg against Boston. They had a team meeting and all that stuff, but I kind of like Hellickson, so I'm laying off that one. I looked at everything today, nothing too exciting on the board, but this game kind of jumped out at me. So, Baltimore versus Minnesota. Again, this is one of those games where the line just does not make a lot of sense to me, so I'm going to go ahead and take over the 10. It's a big number, but I don't get it. So here's the deal with this one. So you got Kashner, who I always struggle whenever I pick a game. By the way, just to let you guys know, disclaimer: anytime I pick a game with Kashner, usually I lose. Just to let you know, that guy kills me. One way or the other, he kills me. Let's see if I'm right today. Right now, you got the public on the under. It was at 9.5, but the line's gone up to 10, and I'm going over the 10, and it's a lot of runs. But this is the line. This is the only game that really bugs me, and so that's why I'm taking over. And let me tell you why even more. You look at Baltimore and Minnesota recently. Talk about 2 teams not swinging the bat. Baltimore versus Philadelphia put up a combined 3 runs in 2 games. And, and then if you look at their last 5 games, they've had like 1 decent scoring affair. They have not swung the bats really well, but in their last 3 games, although they're not scoring runs, they are hitting over 240. All their statistics have gone up a little bit, and they get to face a guy today in Aaron Slegers. Not a lot of major league experience. Minor league numbers are not that great. I mean, if we take a look at him, overall, ERA is not horrible, 3.5. His WHIP's okay, 1.2. This is all minor league stuff, but batters are hitting almost 260 against him in all his minor league starts. He's had he's been up with the major leagues just a few times. This will be his second start of the year, and his first one was okay versus Kansas City, 2 earned runs in 5 innings. But I think Baltimore comes in and is able to score 3, 4, 5 runs. Okay, I think they're gonna be able to put up some runs against this guy. So, and then again, the number is what really gets me. So I like Baltimore, who seems to, although they haven't scored, they seem to be swinging the bats a little bit better recently. Okay, we know they're offensively, they're one of the bottom 3 in the league statistically across the board. Even though it is still early in the season, they've not played well. We all know that. But the number. They got Minnesota, who could not swing the bats versus Milwaukee at all. They hit what was the number? They hit under 190 versus Milwaukee in their last series. Talk about not swinging the bats. Now they get to come back and face Andrew Kashner, who has been great recently. He's been really solid. I mean, you look at him. I mean, his last 3 starts, he's given up 4 earned runs in 16 innings. Go back even further. His last 5 starts, he's given up 10 earned runs in 28 innings. That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, in his last 3 starts as well, he's given up just 11 hits. And it's 10? That's pretty amazing. Um, of course, when we dig into the Cashner a little bit more, you're also talking about a guy with a 4.48 ERA and 1.57 WHIP. Also, his road numbers are not good. His road numbers not good. He's faced Minnesota once this year, and they did get to him, but his road numbers overall not great. 46 hits in 36 innings, 1.75 WHIP. That's really, really bad. ERA over 4. I think Minnesota has a good chance to bounce back today from a really bad series. Just it happens sometimes. They're a better offense than what we just saw in Milwaukee, but they're still not great. I mean, they're still statistically they're outside the top half of all major league teams in most defensive categories. Total bases are like right in the middle. I think they get the Cashner today. This number bugs me, and the fact it's gone up. It seems to me just statistically, if you look at Cashner recently and Sluggers with his overall numbers, if I'm even saying his name right, the line probably should have came out at like 9 with maybe higher juice on the 9, but they came out right with 9.5 with two teams that are statistically in the bottom half of all major league teams, and they came out with 9.5, and it's gone up. I'm taking the over. This game bugs me. All right, so I'm going over with Baltimore, Minnesota, and that's it. Not a lot of Major League Baseball games today. Nothing I love, but if you guys got a question, I'll be happy to ask. For that Texas Detroit game too, I don't get that line either. Okay, let's talk the WNBA. Interesting. Okay, so I got a couple plays here. First of all, let's talk about the plays I'm not making. Got Sparks versus the Lynx. Minnesota, holy cow, they were 14-point favorites at home versus Indiana, and they lost straight up. I thought the game was going to go opposite. The score was about right, but I thought it would be Minnesota that, Indiana that. Really weird game. Minnesota could not hit a bucket. They shot like 33% from the floor. They were terrible. Hats off to Indiana. Indiana is the best bad team probably in the WNBA. They have a really poor losing record, but if you look at their games, they're actually pretty competitive. I think they're better than a few of the other teams that are at the bottom as well. They're not horrific, and they go in and beat Minnesota at Minnesota. That's no joke. Maybe Minnesota was looking to this game right here where they got to take on the Sparks. That's possible, but I mean, they had a couple days rest, so or they had at least a day's rest. I don't know. That was weird. I could talk about that game forever. Okay, so the LA Minnesota game, 155.5. It's now dropped at some places to 153.5. I think that's the right movement. This should be a grind. They've already played early this year. They played to a really low total in LA. This is going to be a great game. But points wise, they're the two best defensive teams in the WNBA. They allow the least amount of points out of any team. So this could be a really defensive battle. Or does Minnesota come out and really push tempo and try to put up some points considering they couldn't score versus Indiana? I'm not sure. I don't know how it's going to roll out. I have a lean on the under, but I'm probably going to lay off it. I think it's just going to be a really good basketball game. I know, WNBA. Go figure. Then we got Connecticut versus Phoenix. Big number here, 169. And the reason why that's so big, they played under this total earlier in the season. Same spot, too, with Connecticut going to Phoenix. But the second half, they scored almost 100 points. They had a really low scoring second quarter, and then they went bananas the second half. That's why the line's so high. But I think it's a little bit too high. This is going to be a really good matchup. Two good teams. Connecticut, big win versus the Sparks. They just got out of there with a win as two big underdog wins. WNBA is crazy. Plus money line value in WNBA cannot be overemphasized. Really look for plus money line value. I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee because it's sports, but there's 5 games today. An underdog is going to win today. I'll be surprised if an underdog does not. They're going to win straight up somewhere here. I don't know where. They could be a 10-point dog. They could be a 3-point dog. I don't know. It's WNBA. It's crazy, man. It's like the Wild West. But Connecticut and Phoenix, I think that number is a little bit too high because this is a really good matchup of two good teams. And it seems like when two good teams in the WNBA play, they usually play to a more they counter each other very well. And both teams here, I think, are pretty well coached, and they have an emphasis on defense. But Connecticut goes really fast. So I'm not 100% sure. I had it written down kind of leaning on the over, but then I kind of lean on the under. And then for me, okay, well, I got to lay off of it. some big line movement still in that Sparks Lynx game. Now it's really starting to drop. That game could get ugly. With the Publix on the under though. Okay, then you got the Sky versus the Aces later. This game could go crazy. You got the Sky right now. I mean, holy moly. Their last 5 games, Chicago, check this out. They're averaging 94.4 points per game in their last 5. They're just going nuts, man. They're playing at a real. They're averaging more attempts than anybody else in the WNBA. Their last 5. They're in the top part of the WNBA, as far as attempts on the season, and they allow a lot of tempo too. They're allowing opponents 73 attempts per game. It's just, I mean, they're going nuts. And not only are they averaging 94 points per game, they're allowing 94 points per game. I mean, they're just getting up and down. And Las Vegas, their last 5 games, they're second in tempo allowed. This game could get nuts. This game could get to 200 points. It could, but they got to hit their shots. I have a lean on the over with that one. I think that game could get stupid. There's a reason why it's so high. 172. It's gone to 173. But that's a lot of points. It just takes for them to have a little bit, it doesn't matter about the tempo. If they have a little bit of a poor shooting night, they're not going to get there. Okay. All that said, let's talk about the games I got. First game up, I got New York and Washington. Oddsmakers came out at 160. It's pretty much there across the board. Public's a little bit on the under, and I'm going with the public on this one. I'm taking the under. They just played to a 157, in which we had the under. I'm going under again because, well, statistically, you look at Washington on the season, defensively, not very good. They're allowing opponents to shoot 45.5%. However, in their last 5 games, they've stepped things up, and they're allowing opponents to shoot under 42%. In the last 5 games, they're the 3rd best defensive team in the WNBA, and they're also just behind Minnesota and Seattle the last 5 games. Seattle's been really good, but they're allowing just 75.6 points per game. We look at their last game versus New York. It wasn't really a fast-paced affair. Neither team shot the 3 particularly well. New York shot 50% though, and that's a little bit above their averages. I don't think they shoot that well tonight. New York, man, who knows about those guys? Their last 5, they're shooting 44.6%. Washington also shooting 44.3%. And although New York's averaging 80 points per game and Washington's averaging 85 points per game, their last five contests, still oddsmakers came out with 160. I just don't see this getting up and down. I don't see either team scoring a lot of points. Now, New York recently has been allowing a lot of points. Again, I'm looking at the last 5. I think it's a pretty good litmus test of how teams are playing. And New York's allowing opponents to shoot almost 46% and 87 points per game. But the 2 of the games were versus the Chicago Sky. So those numbers are skewed. Last game was a battle. I think this game's going to be a battle as well. I can't take New York anymore, that's for sure. But I don't think they get to 160. I think that's just a little bit too much in a game where these 2 teams kind of know each other a little bit now. I just don't see them getting there. I mean, statistically, you're talking about a New York team on the season. They are shooting really low percentage. Where are they at? 42.6%. And they're really averaging only 77 points per game on the season, although they're averaging more recently. But again, they got a chance to play the Sky, a really up-tempo team. I don't think they get to the 160. So I'm going under. Under with New York and Washington. All right, next game up. And the last one. Indiana and Dallas. All right, so oddsmakers came out with this one. 166 has gone up to 167. Public's a little bit on the under, and that makes a little bit of sense because Dallas is a pretty good defensive team. But man, they are fast. I'm going over. I'm going over the 167, and let me tell you why. So you look at Indiana on the season. Statistically speaking, they're shooting 41.1%, averaging 76 points per game. But they're coming off a big win at Minnesota. Now they go to Dallas. Dallas is a pretty good defensive team. But you look at Indiana recently, like I said, they're not horrific despite their record. You look at them recently, they're shooting 45%. And more importantly, they're shooting almost 40% from distance. That's their last 5 games. They're starting to play better basketball. They're averaging 80 points per game their last 5 games. And then they get to face a Dallas team who's really fast and averaging 87 points per game over in that same time frame in their last 5. As well, Dallas loves to shoot the 3. They shoot over the last 5 contests, they're averaging 23 almost 24 3-pointers per game. That leads the WNBA, or they're second after the Storm. And then you look at these teams defensively recently, Indiana's been pretty bad. They're allowing opponents to shoot over 47%. Dallas should be licking their chops this game, because Indiana has not been defending from beyond the arc as well, allowing opponents to shoot over 44% from distance in their last 5. Dallas, although statistically on the season they've been pretty good recently, like their last 5 games, opponents are shooting 46% and they're allowing 87 points per game. They're really starting to pick up their tempo, like we see from Dallas throughout their WNBA career. They're a fast tempo organization. I think this game, it gets over 170. So I'm gonna take a shot here with Indiana, Dallas over the 167. And those are all my reasons. Those are all my statistics, and those are my picks. That's my coffee. Let's recap that. All right, so MLB. We got Baltimore, Minnesota over the 10. Just a line I think looks stupid. Okay, really some scientific handicapping right there. And then we got WNBA, New York, Washington. I'm going under the 160. I don't think they get there. I think we're going to see another grind, kind of like we saw last game. And then finally, we got Indiana, Dallas over the 167. I kind of like that game. But Indiana, although recently they are shooting the ball better, it's still, they should come in with a lot of confidence. I mean, they just beat Minnesota at Minnesota. But is that confidence going to be displayed defensively? I don't think so, because I think it wasn't their defense so much. I think it was more the fact that Minnesota just could not hit a bucket. That's what I got. What do you guys got for me? Let's talk. All right. Woo, here we go. James Wilson. Good to see you. Hi. Steven, what's up, Stark? What is up? Brian, thanks for the Pittsburgh total. Oh, yeah. That was lucky, actually. We got that. We needed that 2-run homer there at the end. Turbo Beam, Stark, double salute on the Boston over W. Okay, yeah, we did hit our totals. CFL, from James, I don't do CFL, so I don't know. Marco, good morning. Darrell, Texas Tigers over, San Francisco, St. Louis over. Be sure to bring that into Jimmy and Pete's show, where everybody likes to put up their picks. Tamor, what's up? Saying hi to each other. Okay. Tamor, I think Baltimore is definitely better offensively than their stat shows since Trumbo is healthy now. Chris Davis is so useless, yeah. Though the back end of the lineup really struggles. Yeah, again, it's about the number for me today on that one. Brian on the San Francisco Giants. James, Padres versus Arizona over the 8.5. Semajay, hello from Tacoma. Hello. Douglas, does Kashner being 14-2 last 16 starts to under a relevant trend? No. If I'm reading that correctly, I would say no. I think he gets lit up today. Tamor, it seems like Kashner is getting lucky. He relies so heavily on, his numbers aren't that great. So I think Minnesota's able to look. Both teams are coming off of 2 really rough series where neither of them scored, and then odds makers came out with 9.5. That just really gets my radar up. Steven, the Aces get no love. Oh, did I not talk about them? No, I did. Chicago and Las Vegas. Yeah, I did talk about them. That game could get stupid. I don't know. That's a lot of points. Let's see. Semajay, nice call yesterday. Talking to somebody else, I think. You guys are talking to each other. I'm going to continue on. Tomorrow, I think Minnesota will clamp down defensively, but I also think they put up some points. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play, considering they just lost to the losingest record team. I don't think the worst team in the WNBA. Semajay, what do you think the total on the Houston game with Verlander going? Yeah, I think the number's right on that one. Tomor, Connecticut hasn't been the same team on the road, but both teams like to play up tempo. Actually, Tomor, that's not true. You look at Phoenix, they're actually the slowest tempo team in the WNBA. Where I think you're misconstruing it is the fact that they'd still put up a lot of points. They shoot at a really high percentage. But as far as attempts per game, they don't go really fast. And they don't allow really fast tempo. They're one of the slowest teams as far as getting up and down in the league, but they can really score. Their shooting percentages are really solid. So I just think it's a good matchup. I kind of think it stays under. But I think odds makers also are kind of dialed in on that line. Okay. Tomorrow, I think Washington might be looking ahead to their games coming up against Seattle. Maybe. I'm not sure they'll play great defense, but Liberty struggled to score. That is true. Andrew, I agree with you for the Chicago and Vegas game going over. Locked in at 172. Triple Beams was wanting the same. Talking to Semajay Tomor. I think the most underrated team in the WNBA is, yeah, I don't think they're underrated. I think everybody knows they're good. They're really good. Yeah, that Seattle team's no joke. I don't think they're underrated. Let's see. Triple Beams again, but won't budge off 7.5, as Stark would say. This line is bugging me. Oh, okay. Well, okay, we talk about that Houston game. I know it's Verlander, so it could be 3-0 any night. Yeah, but still, yeah. If the line bugs you, it doesn't mean it's going to be a winner because it's a sporting contest. I could go 0-3 today. I kind of like these plays though. I think I go 2-1 today. This looks like a 2-1 card to me. Yeah, but if the line bugs you, that you might be onto something. At least that. Not all my handicapping is based on that, but sometimes. And tomorrow I'm on Dallas. I think Indiana will be flat off the big win. Yeah, possibly. Dallas will score a lot. Yeah, I think Indiana could score enough. Like I said, recently they're shooting 45% and they're shooting well from distances also. I think Dallas is going to score a lot. I think you are right about that. But it is the WNBA. I mean, it's 167. That's a lot of points. I mean, maybe they both struggle. Maybe the way they match up, we're going to see a really, it's going to be under 160. This is, again, it's a sporting contest. This is why you don't, bet your whole bankroll on one game. So you notice I hedge myself a lot because it's very important for me to remind you guys every time I do a segment. It's sporting contest. You really have to. I mean, you got to. It's all about money management, man. 90% of doing this is money management. And let's continue on down. Marco, I think you have the same amount of people watching this stream as there are people watching WNBA. Checkmate. Tomorrow, I think Dallas stats are slightly skewed since they played some of the best teams in WNBA recently. That could be. Sorry, you could be onto something there. Which play do you like most? Of course, we have to ask that one. I think I like the Indiana Dallas over the 167 the most. I don't know. Okay. Tomorrow, Marco, the WNBA is a good sport to bet. It is. Trung, I agree with you, Stark. I'm also taking the over Indiana Dallas and over Chicago Las Vegas. I watch almost every WNBA and I really have a good clue. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. Ron, Connecticut Sun been on the left coast, third game in 5 days, going under the 169. Yeah, again, like I said, a little lean on the under there. Ron, any thoughts on Japanese baseball? No, but I lost my Japanese baseball game yesterday. I was pretty upset about it. Right now, the weather's so bad in Japan. It's stormy all across, like almost like half the games were canceled yesterday. I haven't even looked at it, Ron. And for time's sake, I'm not going to be able to do it in this segment today. Marco, how was my 4th? Uneventful because I'm in Japan. Didn't really do much. Thank you for asking, though. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. For my American friends, at least. And Tri Day, what do you think about the Miami Marlins game? I looked about that one, but I just don't know enough about. Was it Lopez? Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of starts. Again, like I said, I kind of like Hellickson. Washington had a team meeting after their Boston series. I just don't know how they're going to roll out today. I don't know how they're going to roll out. Let's see. Alert Eddie Kashner, very strange pitcher. Yes, he is. Andrew, for MLB, do you have any leans on the side? No, I don't. For the Padres and Diamondbacks game, and also the Rangers and Titans. No, I don't. I don't. I thought the Tigers line was kind of interesting. At 9.5. I mean, Gallardo, man, that guy can really get touched up. But the line's dropped from 9.5 to 9. Boy, he can be okay at times. So I'm not really sure about that one. And sorry, what was the other game you were mentioning? The Padres Diamondbacks, man. Who knows what you're going to get with Arizona? Lauer versus Shelby Miller. You flip a coin, man. I don't know. You got me. I think those are really tough calls. So for me, I mean, if it's like when a game's like that, just lay off of it. It's just too hard to predict. Well, all games are pretty hard to predict. Tomorrow, talking about Cassio's last 2 or 3. Okay, starts. I got you. Any fireworks in Japan for the 4th? No, because we're in Japan. Are you talking about me personally? We didn't do fireworks. Um, but like on the bases here, on the military bases, they'll have fireworks to celebrate the 4th of July. But for the most part, no. When Japan does, they do have festivals and they do fireworks, and when they do fireworks, it destroys anything that the Americans do. They really take pride in having good fireworks shows, and when they do it right. It's quite incredible. 7J, Mr. Stark, any thoughts on the Nationals game? Public on the under, but the line move up. Yeah, again, I'm not really sure because I kind of like Hellickson. He's just coming back from being banged up. Not really sure how that's going to roll out. Ray, what's up? Just tuned in. Are you seeing all these line movements? Yeah, I've been going back and forth. They're bouncing around a lot. Marco, was there a sushi eating challenge to celebrate the 4th of July? Yeah, I mean, if you live in Japan like I do, you'll notice like they don't even know it's the 4th. They don't know it's the 4th of July because it's Japan. They don't celebrate American independence. They have no clue at all. Yeah, for the most part. It's just, yeah. But I mean, Japan, it's like America. I mean, they have their own holidays, and some of the holidays they have are pretty cool. It's a very interesting country. Ray, over 10 on Baltimore, Minnesota looks good. Okay, 2 crappy teams with a high total posted, more money on the under 2. Yeah, again, it's a weird line. That's why I like the over. Marco, Charles, how many sports books do you use when you're betting? Do you use Pinnacle? I used to use Pinnacle. I don't use them as much. There's a few books I use. I actually would like to get a sports book to sponsor this segment. That'd be kind of cool, but I don't think they want to. I don't think they like my face. But I use a few. All the like, I used to use Pinnacle quite a bit. I don't really use them so much anymore. Just there's no particular reason why. It's a great sports book. But all like the like Bet 365, I've had accounts with like all of them, all the top rated ones. I've had an account at one time or another. Russ, San Francisco, 26-14 at home with Cueto on the mound tonight. I think they light up Weaver. Okay. Thank you, Russ. Teddy B, Stark, what do you think about the Padres? D-backs over the 8.5. You would think, but Arizona now with the humidor and everything, you just don't know what you're going to get with Arizona. I mean, they have not hit the ball well at home statistically on the season. So I have no idea what you're going to get with that game. 8.5 looks too low. I don't know. I think that's one of the tougher calls of the day, Teddy. Tomorrow, I think Phoenix has changed the way they play since struggling earlier in the year. They've scored over 80 the last 4. Seattle, I think, is still slightly under the radar since they haven't won anything recently. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, they aren't, Seattle's not Minnesota or Phoenix, or the Sparks, the teams that people mostly know about. Yeah, sure. You're correct about that. I'll agree with that. And maybe you're right about Phoenix being a little bit more up and down. But the matchup, man, I think the way they match up with Connecticut's solid. I think the line, probably that 169, they're going to either be like at 175 or at like 168. I think they're going to be right around the line. That's why I think it's a little bit tough to call. That's just me. Who knows? I mean, they could end up at 180. They could end up at 150. I mean, it's WNBA. Triple Beans. I think I'll go 2-1 today. This is what touts won't tell you. Stark is the man. Thanks. Yeah, to me, it does. It looks like a 2-1 card. I mean, we'd want to sweep, but to me, it looks like a 2-1 card. As long as I keep doing that, though, if I keep trudging away and playing how I normally play and looking for value, we're going to end up in the profits. Okay. We got just a few more minutes here. Let's finish up some final comments. I appreciate you guys coming in. Gary, hey, all the best from Montreal. Gary, thank you very much. Montreal. Go Canada. Very interesting story, actually, Gary. I was walking up and down the street here, kind of in the countryside, here in the southern part of Japan, and these 2 girls were walking past me, and I was talking to my son, and here where I'm at, like nobody speaks English at all, and these 2 girls were like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like perfect English. I'm like, "Oh, whoa, hi, how are you?" Like, "Where are you guys from?" They're, "Oh, we're from Canada. We're from Vancouver." I know, kind of far from Montreal, but they're from Canada. Quite a few Canadians in Japan. I have a very good friend who's Canadian. He's from Toronto. And let's continue. Gary Avery, the Aces will cover. We'll see about that. Tomor Lopez had one start that was good, but right-handed hitters nearly 400 against him. Okay, I don't think there's enough statistics with him, one way or the other. I mean, you kind of have to know him, and I don't. I really don't. I think we took him on the under though, because it was his first major league start. I think we did that last time he pitched, if I remember correctly. Let's see. You from the state, Stark? What part? I'm from California. Let's continue down. Marco, Aces will get cracked as you. Okay. Try day. Starks, what is edging or hedging? Hedging your bet. Hedging your bet. What is edging or hedge? Let me think about it. It depends on the context. Like, I mean, if you have, for example, if you have over, or let's say you have oh gosh, it's not that complicated, but you can always, like at the halftime line of a basketball game, if you have the over like 160 and they're already at like 110, so they're going to go over really easily, then you can hedge yourself on the halftime line. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways to look at it too. That's a whole different conversation. I don't have enough time to cover all that. Good question though. I can get in that one for a while. Teddy B, Stark, do you miss the States or living here? Yeah, I miss the States sometimes, but I enjoy living in Japan. I've been here a long time. It's totally different. It's totally different, but there's a lot of really good things to like about Japan. There's a reason why I've stayed here, not just because I'm married and have a couple kids. Marco, I'm on under the 9. Okay, Ron, what have you been doing on your vacation? And a long conversation we'll have to talk about another time because I got to get out of here. Thank you, Ron, for the question. A lot of different stuff. I've been hitting the gym a little bit, trying to hit the gym. Let's see. Kingo, about business. You're great on totals. Much respect. Thank you very much. We do try. We try. It's serious business, man. Very serious. Tamor, I agree with you. Tough to know what Connecticut will give you off such a big win against LA. Yep. Trung, what's your totals record for MLB and WA right now? So I'd have to look it up. We're MLB, we're a little bit over 500. WNBA as well. We're over 500 in both. But honestly, here's my problem with that question is I'm doing a lot of stuff personally that I'm not giving out because I'll make a play like 5 minutes before the game goes off. So I would have to go back in my sports book, and I haven't been very diligent in writing everything down. I mean, I could show you my notes that I have for this particular segment, and it's just a lot of scribble. But I'm up as far as my book is concerned over the past couple months. Actually, I've been having a pretty good couple months here. So we're up. We're over 500. Okay, that's 100% for sure, but not a ton over 500 in both sports. We're in the profits in both sports. Okay, but MLB we started out really slow, but we're finally starting to turn it around. Let's see. Okay, Trunk, great question. Again, yeah, I can't give you an exact number. Sorry about that. King, will you be joining us on the low back show? Maybe not today. I got some stuff going on this morning. The show is getting better and better. More people involved. Cemetery, yeah, that is true. Triple beans, hedging, telling them about, yeah, taking some of the eggs out of your basket. Yeah, essentially that's it. Tomorrow, I think holidays in Japan must be interesting since the country obviously doesn't want to remember some of its history when it comes to invading China. World War II. Shh, don't talk about that. Okay, I got to get going here, guys. Couple comments here. Gary, Vancouver, a long way from Montreal. Yeah, like I mentioned, big country. I did say that. I said they're from Canada, Vancouver. I said, yeah, it's totally opposite side of the country. Yeah, I know a little bit about Canada, unlike a lot of my American friends. But Gary from Montreal, thanks for coming into the segment. And Russ, I'm in Toronto. I got a friend from Toronto. Watch your stream. Appreciate your knowledge. Thank you. Thanks, Russ. Thanks for coming in. Finally, Marco, I lived in Shanghai for a little. Oh, wow. Always run into a McDonald's wherever I feel sick. Loves packing at McDonald's. Yeah, I try to stay away from McDonald's. My kids like it, of course. That's it for me. All right, you guys, we're getting out of here. Again, awesome comments today. Thank you so much for coming in. Got Gary from Canada coming in.
people from all over the world. So this was a cool segment today. I appreciate you guys coming in and giving awesome comments. So a lot of fun. Again, we got 3 totals here on the day. Hopefully, we'll profit on the day. That's the plan. In Major League Baseball, we got Baltimore, Minnesota. We're going over the 10. Just a really weird line. I don't like it, so I'm going over. Lines move that way. WNBA, we got 2 plays. New York, Washington, under the 160. I just don't think they get there. Washington's played some pretty good defense recently. They just played recently as well. I don't think they get to the 160. And then finally, Indiana, Dallas over the 167. I think it's going to be an up-tempo affair. Indiana shooting the ball better recently over the past week or so. I think they go over. All right, and that's it for me. You guys, best of luck on all your picks, and I'll get back at you on Saturday. All right, take care. We'll talk soon.